Okay, I think we are live here. So hello everybody, welcome to our AGLA Port City Pride Month conversation. My name is Emma Quinn. I am the Events and Marketing Manager for Port City Brewing Company. And every year I work with the AGLA in Pride Day night and working with them to support our LGBT community and allies. And I have Daniel Hayes here with me today. Daniel.
Hello.
There he goes. He's been with the AGLA for 15 years, I believe, 14
Yeah,
maybe.
almost 14 and a half.
And is the current treasurer, was the president for 4 years. So
Yes.
You want to introduce yourself really
Sure.
quick?
Hi. Yeah, Daniel Hayes. As you said, I've been currently the treasurer. Been treasurer now for going on, I guess, 5-ish years. Was president 4 times. I've been on the board essentially. When I first moved to Arlington, the biggest city I'd ever lived in had 45,000 people in it. I'm now living in Alexandria. Initially, I lived in Sterlington. And I had no clue where I was living. I had signed a lease sight unseen without coming out here to accept a job. And I Googled Arlington, gay, and of course, what came up but Freddy's. And so I went to Freddy's and met a lady who has since passed away, Cheryl Spector. Told her a little bit about myself, and she said, there's this group called AGLA. They could really use someone like you. And I, then a few days, I had bought a ticket to that was their then 25th anniversary, to their 25th anniversary gala. And somehow in the process, I ended up with my name on the ballot to be elected to their board. And I've been on their board ever since.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Well, tonight was going to be our 3rd annual Pride Day night, which is our celebration of the LGBTQ community in Alexandria and beyond. And obviously, we're not able to celebrate like we normally would.
It would have been a drag night usually.
It would have been a drag night. That's right. We would have had Stormy Vane out.
Stormy and I were going to be hosting the show this tonight. But
that's right, because you're also Muffy Blake Stevens, aka Queen of the Capitol.
Correct. Yes. Stormy and I do a lot together.
We thought that just because we can't celebrate in person doesn't mean we can't work with you guys soon. And so we're doing a really great promotion. All of Port City Pride merch purchased in the month of June, 100% of profits are going to be donated to AGLA. And we're also working with Melody Abella for beer yoga, and she's going to be donated 100% of those donations as well for the entire month of June. So if you do yoga virtually with us once a week, then that donation will also go to AGLA.
Awesome. We really, truly do thank you, and we truly rely on groups like yourself that have supported us, and the support that you all have given us has been incredible.
Well, we're really happy to. And I believe we both are sipping on the same brews right now. So for those,
yes.
grab your Port City. You got the Monumental IPA. I've got my special koozie.
Now that they painted the streets in DC, you'll have to have a Black Lives Matter IPA.
I know. Agreed.
That could be one of your dark ales. I guess that would have to be an ale, probably. I'm not a good beer master, so you're gonna don't take me for your cooking brew.
We'll talk to our brewers and see if they've got any opinions on the matter. But yeah, I think that that's a definite thing that we want to focus on too. But I had a couple questions for you. I thought we could go through those, sip on some beers, talk about AGLA, and then encourage people to purchase some Pride merch this month and support you guys as well.
Awesome. And maybe they'll put in some chat things and some questions they might have too. Who knows?
Yep, and I'll be checking on those. So I guess my first question is, tell us more about AGLA. What is it and what is the mission?
We've been around since 1981. We're the oldest LGBT organization in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Mm-hmm. When we were first formed, we were much more male dominated in its actual membership, if you did by percentages. Mm-hmm. and then we did not have the mission we have today. We were much more of a social group that quite frankly didn't function out in the open like we do today. In 1981, the laws in Virginia and even in what is now such an extremely progressive area as Arlington was not what we have today. And the people would tell the stories when you talk to some of the original members, they would park 2 or 3 blocks away from the house where they were meeting in order to not have the police not show up at where they were going. Things thankfully have moved, light years. And AGLA has been one of the parts of the way, moving along the way. About 10 years into that, there was a conversation held between Ellen Bosman, who was then, I don't know if she was a chair of the county board at the time or if she was just on the board. She was one of the chairs in Arlington. The chair rotates around the 5 members of the county board. And that conversation with Ellen was about how do we take AGLA from where we were then to where we wanted to be. That conversation led to the current mission. And that mission is being a 3-part mission of safe social activities, community service, and nonpartisan political awareness, functioning around the key understanding and key belief that in order to tear down the walls and make the change in the laws, that we needed to make sure that everyone knew that LGBTQ individuals were your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, aunts, your uncles, and be out there in the community doing things. And so that community service portion of the mission has always been really critical, as well as the nonpartisan political awareness piece. Part of the board's role on that was always there's been some from time to time that have wanted to make that more partisan. Right. Make sure that we've been always one of the groups that has always made sure that stayed as a nonpartisan piece. We are a 501c3. So getting that paperwork that way was really critical. We were one of the first original organizations to be recognized by the Arlington County Human Rights Commission. We won its biggest annual award one time. I actually went back during one of my years as president to give the speech on our 10th anniversary recognition of that. But in Arlington County, part of our biggest thing, I would say that we're most, as far as identify a specific thing, was the human rights ordinance in Arlington County, adding sexuality and gender identity to that ordinance was something that we were the ones who led that advocacy. We had went to the board. The board expressed at that point in time, this is a number of years ago, a willingness to do so. This was before I moved here in 2006. However, one of the things that they had said that was critical to do so was that they had to be given the legal justification for what they would back it up, knowing that at that time they were going to get resistance. And so AGLA worked with Lambda Legal to have a legal brief drafted that would provide for, under the Commonwealth's laws, what was the legal justification for the Commonwealth to do so, because there's unfortunately in Virginia what's called Dillon's Law, and that is a structure of how things are governed in Virginia that says that a county or no county or city in the Commonwealth can do something without the permission of the state government. And so we had to show that that was going to be something legally doable. And the other thing that we really did over the years was we've worked in each of the other areas around us in Northern Virginia to try to get organizations to also be LGBTQ organizations representing. Unfortunately, and it's something that we with AGLA face as well as volunteers to keep the board going. We're still going though, and we do have vacancies for the board though, if anyone wants to be a board member. But other areas like the Alexandria Gay and Lesbian Community Association, they eventually got to a point where they no longer had board member viability. And so they had to close about 3 years ago. And we took on, that's when our membership has legally stayed with the same name as the, technically on all our paperwork, we're the Arlington Gay and Lesbian Alliance.
Mhm.
We publicly use Arlington-Alexandria Gay and Lesbian Alliance, which still works with the AGLA. But we've also, Equality Fairfax, which is another organization that we helped start. A number of years ago, it folded as well due to volunteer, number of keeping volunteers on board. And so we have taken on kind of essentially, we're the last remaining in Northern Virginia proper. We do still have Equality Prince William, which we helped start. They're still going strong. There's a little remnants maybe of Equality Loudon, but it really doesn't exist in any form or fashion anymore either. At one point, we had gotten all the way out to we had helped form an Equality Culpeper, if you even can think of it. But now we're pretty much, so our tagline that once used to be "We're out in Arlington" is now "We're out in Northern Virginia."
Right. Okay. So it's not an Arlington or Alexandria specific. It's open to Nova and the world.
And the world. We have members in other states. Yes. Good. And the other states not just being the district in Maryland. We've got them in Arizona, all over.
I think so. You answered my next question, which was, how did you guys become the organization you are today?
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to do it.
I was good. No, you're fine. You're answering the questions very well. I guess I was wondering how people could join, how they could support, and then what you guys are kind of focusing on right now as far as for Pride Month or beyond.
The easiest way, especially right now in our still kind of quasi-quarantine times, is to go to agla.org. And one of the tabs that you can drop down is, I believe it's actually the tab called, it says, I think it actually says, does it say join or does it say about?
There's an about and support AGLA.
Yeah. And if you click on about, then there's a drop down and join is one of the options you have there. Membership dues are $35 for an individual membership or $50 a year for a family membership. We decided just recently, recognizing the economic stress that everyone's under as a result of things. Many people have had economic stress in their house. I've been blessed to still have my job and I actually have more money in my account, it seems like, because I guess I'm not going out and spending it. But lots of people are not in that situation. So anyone who was a member of AGLA coming into June is always when everyone's dues renew. We decided that everyone who was a member coming into the month of June, we extended their dues for 1 year free. We've sent out an email and encouraged everyone that if they're in a position to be able to continue to pay their dues, we certainly need the resources to continue. But we wanted to put our members first and encourage them if they wanted to then to either make a donation to the organization's general fund, or also we also have our scholarship fund that provides a scholarship for Arlington County high school seniors each year. And so that's another thing that we're also working for. So those are our two things that are going cash wise for us.
Yeah, I saw that the college scholarship fund is mentioned on your website. I believe it started in 2000 and it seems like it's been getting bigger every year.
Yes, when I became president, I joined the board in January of 2007. And then I got a phone call 3 months later that for whatever reason, I was stupid. Don't anyone ever do this. If you ever join a board, ladies and gentlemen, don't become vice president the first year you join the board. That's my piece of advice to everyone. I love the 4 years that I was president, but 3 months in, our president decided that something had happened and he needed to focus on other things. And lo and behold, voila, I became president since I was vice president. One of the things at that time, our scholarship fund was really hurting fund-wise. And so we did some real focused efforts then. And then one of our later members, who was a president, Tiffany Jocelyn, who was since killed tragically in a car crash. And that's why we named the scholarship after her. She had spent a lot of time during each of the years that she was president. I believe she was president 3 years, trying to work on getting the scholarship fund built up. And then out of the blue, we had a individual that wasn't, I don't think she was even a member, dues paying member, but she was a former federal government employee. And in her will, she had left a portion of her federal benefit account to AGLA. And so lots of paperwork to get that cash, but went through that, took about a year and a half to get that collected, but we took the bulk of that money and put it into the scholarship fund to help get ourselves up, and just set a very small portion in the general fund, to be able to make sure we were try to get closer to an endowed level. And we're getting close to where we've got almost enough money in the fund now to where we're able to have the interest almost pay each year. So we're getting there, but we got a ways to go still.
And you mentioned people will be able to support the scholarship fund online this year, and as opposed to at an event.
Yes, that was one of our updates we did to our website last year as well. We went on our join page and had some computer programming so that you can also, when you pay your dues every year, there's a spot where you can add in extra money to go to the scholarship fund. So it's really easy to do that there. You also can go into agla.org/donate anytime during the year and make a donation. And so that's another way that you can also support AGLA, just aside from joining. But we use that as a way to run through. We also have all of our PayPal and those kind of things that run through those accounts as well.
Okay. I guess I have a question, how they could support during the pandemic or when things to return to normal, but I guess you just kind of covered that. So maybe how can allies or friends support the LGBTQ community in general year round?
I would say I'll cover both of that a little bit, because there's some other things they could do to support AGLA. Number one, if you're looking for a way to give back to your community, we need board members. We do have vacant board slots, but also volunteers in general is something that we're in need for. I think probably every nonprofit organization in the DMV is looking for volunteers. It's kind of as an LGBT group that is a LGBTQ activism group, as opposed to a LGBTQ sports group or a hiking group or whatever, it puts us actually a little bit in a disadvantage in getting people to be looking at us. I jokingly say if there's an activity that 2 or more gays or lesbians do in the DMV, there's an organization just for that. And so sometimes joining a broad-based organization is not what people go to, realizing that we're the ones that are out there doing the tabling events to do public education, to try to make sure that we have forums to bring in the elected officials and the candidates for elected office, to make sure that they have to hear the voices. So being a volunteer to work on any of those areas, we have everything from coffee clubs, book clubs. We used to do theater nights. So if someone wanted to organize theater nights again, we have someone who does organize some of our social events. But right now, I'm hoping that possibly during the month of June that we can do some Pride socials via Facebook Live and Zoom. Generally, almost any kind of an activity, if you're interested in it, send an email to president@agla.org or info@agla.org. Those both go to our president, Bruce Hightower, and then he and I work very closely with the rest of the board to make sure that we can try to get the activities out there. But generally speaking, I think we try to think of ourselves as that umbrella organization that can reach out and bring everyone together. We also have members of our board that sit on many local commissions in all of the jurisdictions. And then we work very closely with also the Equality of Virginia. And Equality of Virginia has not only the C3, but it also has a C6 that is the political side. And so that way we can make sure that everyone's connected together. But yeah, I think did I cover all of it, or did I?
I think so. Volunteer, support, reach out if people have ideas and something they'd like to see from AGLA that they're not seeing, and I think that
And
does cover it.
and I think the other big one, quite frankly, it AGLA is about the community. And you can't spell community without the word unity. It's not communify. And I think it's important as we go through the reopening process, and we in Northern Virginia are a phase behind the rest of the Commonwealth with the virus. But I think it's really important to also recognize the businesses like you all, like Freddy's. There's lots and lots of gay owned and allied businesses that are very supportive of us. And I think it's important as an LGBTQ community to make sure that we support those that are supporting us, because that's not everyone. Going out to the Chick-fil-A's of the world for your first meal when you go out. I understand that a spicy crispy chicken sandwich is really good there, but maybe support the ones that actually support you.
Right. I think that's great advice for any business, well, do you have anything else you'd like to bring up about AGLA, or anything that we haven't covered here that you'd like to talk about?
I guess I'd maybe give a shout for an event that we do have coming up, and then one that we hope to have coming up. Every year in August, we do our big fundraising push for the scholarship fund.
Right.
And that's also when we crown, it used to be that's when we would crown our new Miss AGLA, which is our community service title holder. It's an honorary title as opposed to a pageant run title. And we decided this past year that this coming year, we would have not only a new Miss AGLA, but we would also have a Mr. AGLA. So hopefully that will be Friday night, August the 16th at Freddy's. And we'll also be doing a mail campaign in advance of that to raise money for the fund. So anyone that is interested in getting involved in that or helping, certainly reach out or go online and donate to the fund. We also, in September, this is one that we're hoping, though we got to wait and see where the virus is going to be at that point, that every September, traditionally, one of our, what I would call keynote events that AGLA always has is the ice cream social. And we have the ice cream social now the nice new way where it's catered. And I swear there's a caterer for everything, just like you always have the great food trucks that are outside your place.
That's right.
There is a company that does catered ice cream socials. I never knew it but when I joined the board, we used to scoop the ice cream the old-fashioned way and go buy it the hour beforehand. I swore never before there's got to be someone who does this for you, and there is. But we got to hopefully build a situation where we can publicly have that many people, because we traditionally get between 150 to 200 people to show up at that event.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of particularly with this being an election year, we likely won't have any forums this year, but that is an event where a lot of times the candidates for political office will come out. So we're really hoping that that's something that does happen again, because that will give our members an opportunity to interact with the candidates for elected office in November.
Yeah, it's a lot of refiguring out all of our big events, I think, making everything.
Unfortunately, we had to cancel the Miss Garlington pageant that was scheduled for April. We had thought we'd try it again in the fall, but it's just too uncertain to know whether we're going to be able to. So we decided we needed to just put it off until next year.
Right.
That's one of the things I always run. Anything drag related to AGLA, I'm the one who does all that. Go figure.
Muffy.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today and talking about AGLA and all the good work you guys do. I'm sad that we aren't partying it up right now at Port City, watching an awesome drag show, but there will always be next year. And if that year is not safe, we will do it again when we safely can.
We will, absolutely. And I think the only thing I would sign off with is that it's in times like this that we've got to make sure that we stay healthy, stay safe, but also stay united. And things that are happening right now with the injustice with people of color, and especially I'd remind people, so I think something is getting lost a little bit in the fight when in the Black Lives Matter movement, a little bit, is our Black trans brothers and sisters.
Right.
We've had far too many trans people of color who have also been murdered by the police in recent years.
Yeah.
Just a couple weeks ago in Florida, and we've had some real horrible murders in the DC area in the trans community. So we need to remember about that as well and stand together.
Definitely. And I mean, the whole Pride movement started as a protest, and I think a lot of good can come from.
And a lot of that was both white and people of color in the drag and leather space of the gay community, finally saying they'd had enough and standing up to the police at Stonewall. It's rather than too many times the gay community can be the one that we will fall into dividing ourselves into the gays, the lesbians, the drag queens, the whatevers. We got to stand together. I'm a part of a group called the International Imperial Court System, and our founder, Jose Sari, one of her most known quotes was, we have to stand together. If we don't, they'll pick us off one by one.
Right.
And that's so true.
I think what you said about community having unity in it, and Port City, we love our community. We like to think of us as being very community driven. So I agree, unity is most important right now.
Absolutely.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming out, and cheers. Cheers to everyone who watched along. And just as a reminder, grab your merch. You can go to portcitybrewing.com, click store. There are about 27 variety of options for Pride merch this month. Also, you can donate directly to AGLA, like we said, agla.org. You can find with support, click that, and you will find more there. Sign up for beer yoga every Tuesday event on our Facebook page, and come by. We're open every day for curbside pickup, and we're delivering within 5 miles of the brewery. So thanks again to Daniel. Thank you to AGLA. Thank you to all of you. And yep. And if you have any questions, drop them below, and we will get back to you guys. And
awesome. Happy Pride Month. Thank you. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month. Bye, everyone.